Good morning to you, Africa. We are live coming to you from across the continent. We have a wonderful array of guests lined up, and we again are checking in for an African Youth Pulse check in to find out how you're doing from wherever you are. We have Maureen Tukahirwa, who is already with us. We have Emulot Alan David. We have our co host, Clemence Mbabazi, who is also joining us right now. And in a minute, I'll just pivot to Clemence to take over the programming. She's the host for today, and I'll allow her to guide us through the program. Clemence, over to you. Yes, Clemence, I hear you, but just a little louder if you may. Clemence?
Do you hear me now?
Yes, awesome.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all coming from where you are. We will just go around and maybe talk about where we are, talk about what is happening, where we're coming from, because we're all tuning in from different parts of the continent. And then from then, Franklin will walk us through our main event for tomorrow. It's not a secret anymore, but I will just keep it hidden for a second, and then Franklin would just give us another big reveal because we did talk about it yesterday again. So let me start. I am Clemence Mbabazi. I am the East African Youth Ambassador to Rwanda, but also the regional coordinator for the platform. And I'm also part of the ULEAD team, because we are delivering as one. And what is happening from where I am, actually not much, because Kigali is in a lockdown currently. So we are all trying to, work from home and stay sane and stay safe. So I will just go around and give everyone a moment to just introduce themselves and tell us where they're tuning in from and what's happening where they are. Something interesting. Thank you so much.
Maureen, you want to go first? Or let me go first as Maureen and Kamal are getting their connections sorted right. Well, I'm tuning in from Arusha. It's cold, Clemence. I don't know how Kigali is, but it's cold.
It's really hot.
Oh, it's hot. Good for you. I have my winter jacket here with me. And it's a big contrast. Last week I was in Dar es Salaam for 2 weeks and now back in Arusha, wintry Arusha. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. And let's hear the rest of the team, how they're doing this morning.
Kamala, do you want to go next? Kamala, can you hear us? Franklin, am I audible enough?
You are very audible. I wonder.
Of going next. Hello?
Hello.
We hear you, Maureen.
I think she's having a connection issue.
I think. Clemence, I'm thinking probably we could proceed and check in with Enitan and Lord David. Yes. Just check out how they're doing.
Absolutely.
Enitan join the stream.
Sure.
Maureen is having
Thank you
issue.
all. Good morning. I'm Enito KDG, calling in from Nigeria as the African Youth Charter Advocate representing my country. Oh, okay. Would you like me to go ahead?
Yes.
Me?
Yes, Editan, I think you can go ahead. Clemence, you can proceed with Editan.
She's speaking, but I think her audio has an issue because she was not audible enough. Maybe when she comes back on the stream, then we can give her a moment once again. Kamala, can you hear us?
Hello? Yes, I think there's a delayed response from either your end or my end.
But we hear you now.
We can hear you now perfectly.
Possibly. I'm really sorry, but it's good to be here. Yesterday was brilliant. I enjoyed the various sessions, the various conversations and points delivered by other youth charter advocates, and looking forward to further deliberations today. So yes, happy to be here. Over.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and thank you for making time to be with us yesterday as well. As many of you had noticed, yesterday was an amazing conversation. So now, without further ado, because I know we don't have that much time, I would like to, as we go on with our conversation, people who are following us from various platforms like Facebook, Twitter, feel free to put in your questions. We will definitely get to those as well and try as much as possible to address them. Now, I would like to hand over to my colleague Franklin to take over the next part of our conversation, which is in relations to tomorrow fireside chat on AFCFTA in the continents. We're very excited to be partnering with UNDP on that. So please, Franklin, take over and let's have an amazing conversation.
Great. Thank you, Clemence. I'm happy to see Enitan here, Maureen, yourself tuning in from Kigali. Quickly, to cut to the chase, the discussion we're going to have for at least the next 20 minutes today is on e-commerce. And the question we're going to ask the team and anyone who is listening in is whether they have tried to purchase anything online that is made or purchased or produced from an African country. How is the experience? Whether they have a business which is also doing online transactions. So that's the conversation we want to start. So starting from you, Clemence, then we go to Enitan, then Maureen, and then I see David and Kamala already here. We know people have been ordering goods online. So we just want to see, one, do you currently have a business that's working online on e-commerce, or even on a small scale, has an Instagram page or Facebook page? Then secondly, have you tried to order anything online? How has the experience been? Yeah, so that's what we want to talk about today. So Clemence, over to you.
Okay, to begin with, I don't have a business. Probably in the future, but currently I don't have a business, neither online or any physical entrepreneur activity. I did try to order things online. Well, I'm not a fan of online shopping for various reasons, but then the world we're in, the commercial world we're in, pushes us to definitely engage with online commerce. I have bought stuff online with random vendors before through Instagram or their websites. I have not ordered anything outside of Rwanda, neither from the African continent or outside of the continent. I have never done it. I might not be the right person for this conversation because I do have a lot of reservations on online shopping. But yes, my experience so far with the two vendors that I've tried to buy from online in Rwanda were amazing. The products were good, the delivery time was good. Exactly as promised, which is like very important. We want to be able to also not be charged a lot. I think one of the reasons why online shopping is hard is due to shipping costs, which could be highly elevated for certain parts of the continent. But I also have to admit that one of the reasons why I have not been engaging a lot with the online shopping and e-commerce on the African continent is it's very hard for people to sell things across the continent. You may find that shipping takes a lot of time and a lot of money, and most of these people are not willing to ship their products far from the region. Maybe it would be easier for me to buy things from the East African region, but ordering something from Nigeria, Ghana, it would take a long time for me to have it. And I think it's the challenge that even these business owners are having. But yes, that is my submission, frankly.
Thank you, Clemence. Very honest that she hasn't yet ordered anything online that's out of Rwanda yet. Hopefully she will soon. We see Ivan Sebastian has tuned in. Ivan, we were just starting a conversation on e-commerce in Africa. And before we jump and put you on the frying pan, kindly just share with us where you're tuning in from. You look like you're in a very elegant place. Please.
I know.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sebastian, Segawa Ivan Sebastian. I am the East African Community Youth Ambassador to Uganda. And right now I'm at the airport because I am, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear
We
you.
do.
Because I'm heading to Dar es Salaam, there is an engagement of the community on peace and security, and it is specifically for the so a few leaders from the region have been chosen to go and represent the bigger constituency of young people. And as youth ambassador of the ESC to Uganda, I am one of those people. I know that Clem will soon be joining me, probably tomorrow, and other honorable ambassadors from the other member states of the ESC. And of course, with young leaders, I have one of them with me here at the airport. Let me see if I can go and get her to say a word or two. Otherwise, Franklin, I'm very happy to be with the young people of Africa tonight, this morning.
Awesome. Like a true hustler. You are on transit and staying true to the program. Wonderful. Yeah, if you can get that wonderful youth voice on the program briefly, we really appreciate. Okay, great. So as we head back to the question, Maureen, I don't know if you can hear us now. Maureen, we'd love to hear your thoughts on your experience with the e-commerce so far as we pivot, as we wait for tomorrow's big event, the AFCFTA Fireside Chat. Maureen, I don't know if your connection can allow you to speak. As we await Maureen, Anytime, we see you. Kindly just share with us. We were talking about e-commerce. So Anytime, if you can share with us your experience. One, have you tried to buy anything online that is actually manufactured or produced from West Africa or Africa? And what has your experience been? And do you have an online business, on Instagram, Facebook, online? Kindly share. Let's see how the experience has been as we look forward to tomorrow's engagement on the AFCFTA and how young people can actually make the AFCFTA magic happen. Over to you, Anytime. Yes, Anytime. I think we've dropped, we've lost Anytime briefly there. Bernard, can you hear me? Bernard? Bernard Molho?
Yes, I
Bernard?
can hear you.
Awesome, awesome, Bernard. Is your video feed available? If you could try to switch on your video briefly. Oh, there you are. Great. So Bernard, kindly share with us where you're tuning in from. That's the first question. And then secondly, do you have an e-commerce experience in terms of, do you have a company or a small business you're running online? If not, have you ever tried to order anything online from an African country? And what has your experience been? Kindly, Bernard.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. See?
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
All right. So
My name is Bernard Molo from Uganda, specifically Mukono, where I'm currently meeting with you guys. And I will not lie that I have an online or e-commerce business. Though I've tried doing online business, ordering from online, and it has been a nice experience. And I'll just share a brief one that I encountered. We are under lockdown, and I ordered for something on Jumia. So I happened to receive a product that is of the unexpected standards. So they have a return policy, and I tried using the return policy. It worked very well, and I think online business is a good way to go, especially with policies favorable to the consumer.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bernard, for that. So we are going to come back to what you experienced briefly. I think Ivan Sebastian has just managed to get hold of one of the youth constituents. So Ivan Sebastian, kindly share with us who are we speaking to, and yeah.
Well,
let's hear from you.
It is usually nice that she introduces herself, and then I'll add on her portfolio.
Great.
This is Helga Linda from Youth Ministries, Uganda Christian Youth Ministries.
So, Franklin, like I had earlier told you that we are trying to get leaders that can reach out and influence peace and security to young people of all walks and disciplines of life across the region. So you will find that we have leaders of young people in the political sphere, and of course, we are a multi-religious region as the EAC. It is important that we also have representatives of a very big constituents of believers, and Heliga is fitting that portfolio right now. Yes, we wish you great inspirations. I'm going to be following, but I think I will let the recurrent speaker go ahead with what they were saying. Thank you.
Thank you. So sorry, I didn't get her name.
Oh, she's called Arinda. Heliga
Arinda.
Yes.
Arinda, great. So you guys seems like you're having the entire East African region on peace congregating in Dar es Salaam.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Awesome. No problem. Thank you so much. So let's hear Bernard. Bernard, you're sharing something about a return policy which worked very well for Jumia, right?
Yes, I was talking about the return policy. Yes, I was talking about the return policy with Jumia, and I think it is a good one because I had to do an online return request, and the request was processed within 7 days, and I was given an opportunity to either redirect my money to my mobile account or commodity online. But I had to order for another commodity online, and it was successful.
Awesome. It's wonderful when we hear a success story of an online business in Africa by Africans. So I'm really encouraged by that. Kamala, can you hear us? We would love to bring your input into this programming. Can you hear us? Kamala? Kamala seems to be struggling with his audio and video feed. So let us see if we can bring back Enitan. Enitan, can you hear us? Enitan also seems to be having a... Enitan, can you hear us?
Meanwhile, we have a few comments on our platforms. Nea Paco Chukuka, I hope I've read the name correctly, has written that there will be no Africa youth without Biafran's youth. Say no to injustice in Africa and free Biafrans and Mazi, Namdi, Kalu, and unity and freedom for all other Africans. Paco is advocating for unity and liberation of all African youth, and we have David Ramos, who's from Burundi, and saying it's amazing to have such conversation. I'd love to take a part, me too. Let me know how. And he says he's David from Burundi, so we will definitely find a way to include him in our next chats. Maureen has also written that she's still struggling with her internet, but she's still providing her submission on online e-commerce, especially as a young woman living in one of the most underserved communities of Kigezi, southwestern region of Uganda. Maureen would like to hear more about your experiences in this region as well related to e-commerce. Back to you, Franklin.
Thank you. I think we could just interrogate deeper with the four of us on this program why we think, or why at least I think, that Africans prefer shopping on Amazon, on Alibaba, products which are actually brought from outside the continent, as opposed to our own African products, be it in agriculture, be it in beauty, be it in clothing. So like Bernard mentioned, we don't want to know what you're buying, but why do you think Africans have a preference for the exotic, non-African traditional online platforms for e-commerce? Bernard, over to you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that very well. Could you re-echo it?
Thank you. I was just asking why we think, or personally, I feel that there's a preference for shopping online using exotic platforms like Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, as opposed to our own African-made Jumia or Tuko or Tuzo, the indigenous African-made e-commerce platforms. What could be the challenge?
I think I'll speak from a personal experience. I'm this person who had this skepticism while trying the local innovations. One, I wouldn't trust such platforms. I don't know why. I think we have this inferiority complex as young Africans, thinking that we cannot do anything in Africa. So we trust the superpowers that no, these are the utmost and genuine platforms that we can trust, and then we undermine our own innovations that are at home. But I think it starts with us, the young people. For example, my experience with Jumia, I would boldly recommend someone, a young person, that yes, Jumia works better, because I've recommended other young people to use Jumia. I've recommended them to try out these online platforms because I've expressed it, and I think Jumia having such policies that really protect the consumer are the reasons to why more people will continue trusting the local online platforms and innovations. Because if we get to be cheated by our own people, maybe because we are trying to support our very own people, and then they fail to meet the requirement, then I think we shall continue doubting our very own selves. So I think it comes up with building that brand to make sure that our local innovations are trusted by our very own people.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. So you brought up two important points, which is an inferiority complex and then the trust issue. So those are important aspects. I see that Maureen's feed is coming on and off, but I see also we have Hammond who has joined us. So Hammond, to put you on the spot immediately, we are talking about e-commerce today. As the viewers are aware, we are partnering with the African Youth Charter Hustlers the entire week to push the AFCFTA Fireside Chats agenda, especially tomorrow's meeting. So Hammond, kindly introduce yourself, where you're tuning in from, and then we hit you with an e-commerce question. Over to you, Hammond.
Right. Thank you. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to your listeners, wherever they will be. It's morning here, and I'm speaking from Ireland. So my name is Sapon Hammond. I'm a charter hustler for Ghana, and I'm from Ghana. And, it's a pleasure to be here and to join the discussion. Sorry for being late. I tried checking in challenges with my network, so sorry for coming in late.
It's okay. So Hammond, now that you're in Ireland, you're the perfect person for this question, the discussion that we have been talking about today. The e-commerce ecosystem. We know that for the FCFTA to succeed, apart from the human mobility that we're talking about yesterday, there's also a need for the e-commerce infrastructure to be well developed. Ordering goods from Ghana to Nairobi shouldn't be a hassle. So the question we were asking is, one, have you tried to order goods online on the continent, and what has been the challenge and what has worked? Do you have a success story of what has worked and the challenges also? Over to you, Hammond.
All right, thank you. I think I've done a couple with Amazon, and then there's this Nigerian Jumia, just 3 or 4 times, and there wasn't too much of a complaint. I think that was in the early stages of their launch, and things were working quite effectively. But then overall, I've also seen a lot of people complain about online services. They get worse of what they order for, and then sometimes I don't want to blame the companies. I rather blame the producers or the suppliers, because they post what they intend to give to consumers, and the consumers get that. So the e-commerce companies or organizations are only facilitating what you picked for, and not necessarily having any impact on the specific product. But I think many people do not buy into that idea. So for example, if I order something from a company in China, and you lead company is the one delivering to me. If the thing is not good, I forget about the company and I start to blame you lead for giving me this. But they only transported it to me. That's knowledge deficit or information deficit, and that is why there have been a couple of e-commerce businesses they couldn't survive because of negative publicity. But I think overall they fail to do the bit of education, so people blame them because they are not doing the education for people to really understand their role in this value chain or supply chain. I think that has been the main challenge, and there are stories of it, and then you find scammers also joining wagon, and people lose their money in the process. But I think in our current world of COVID and challenges with moving, e-commerce should be the easiest thing to do. And in Ireland, even if you go to an office, you apply for something, they tell you go home, you receive it the next day, and the next day you have it. So companies are moving from getting things at their doorstep or entering their offices for services. You just sit out of your home and then you get the things delivered. And so I try to think about the security involved, because back home you share your address and next time you find spam messages in your email and like, where did I get this from? I never subscribed to this. But the companies pass on our emails to us. So there are a lot of security breaches. So to conclude in this one, I think one of the challenge I've seen, not personally, but from what people say on social media, is there is that missing education with regards to the specific role that e-commerce companies are playing. And then it's two, either they are delivering services or they are supplying services. So if you're a company, I think your first 2 months should be detailed education on what you really do, so that customers are not on the flip side and they don't
Yeah.
come to accuse you. And the
Yeah.
last part is the security of everything, the details and information people share. How secure are these companies? And so if you are an e-commerce company and then you have a website or a platform, what is the security of that platform? If I put in my card details and others, what is the possibility that tomorrow there is no breach of policy and security? So these are the major things, and that's what scares many people back home. And again, I've been in pitch competitions where people try to post the idea of, oh, internet penetration in Africa is low. You go to the village now and our grandparents are all using smart. The funny story is I'm talking to an uncle and he's like, oh, I want a phone with WhatsApp. I'm like, here is a guy who cannot read, but he wants a WhatsApp phone. So internet penetration is really increasing in Africa. So people shouldn't sit behind and say, oh, we can only do this in the cities. Even in the villages, people can still access things if you give them the
Yeah.
right education and the training. I think if you look at the business growth of some of these e-commerce businesses, because they focus in the cities where there's a lot of competition, they always lose out in the market, especially startups. But then in the countryside, there are still people who can access their phone and order for without traveling to the city. How do we manage or brand ourselves or position ourselves to capture these emerging markets? This is an open question for us. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Hammond, for that detailed explanation. And yes, internet penetration in Africa is definitely developed and on the rise. Enitan, glad to have you back. Can you hear us? Enitan, can you hear us? Okay, I think you can hear us.
Might be muted.
I think Enitan, can you hear us?
Yes,
Yes, we hear you now. We hear you now. We just lost your video feed.
Yes, I'm trying to make
and
sure
your video?
that I'm trying to make sure that this doesn't disconnect while I'm speaking. I've had to come out
Okay.
from my house outside to make sure that I don't lose you guys anymore. Okay, to your question, if I have had that experience, honestly, I haven't did anything from Africa online. When I visit African countries, yes, I do order items, goods, and services, but I haven't had any experience with e-commerce. But then again, I know that this is something that is existing particularly in Nigeria. There are a lot of online businesses springing forth. Also, I know that apart from tangible goods and services, there are also intangible services that are exported and imported across various African countries. So from Nigeria, for instance, it could be music talent, it could be artists, creatives that export their products across different countries. So I would say that, yeah, this is something that should be encouraged. I think why a lot of people probably are not exploring e-commerce within the African continent is because they don't really, I don't think we really know our culture.
Anytime.
Very well, and times exposure to know what is obtainable in different countries, and then they know that, okay, this can be purchased in this particular country, or that can be purchased in this particular African country. So I would say, yeah, more of creating awareness of what each country brings to the table. With this AfCFTA agreement now, I think it's very important for countries to have different handles, I mean, social media handles online. Nigeria has one, and they share, they create awareness on, you know, what's able in Nigeria, small businesses online. They make sure that they share whatever information that needs to be out there to people, so that they can also patronize Nigeria online businesses as well. Over.
Thank you, Enitan. Allow me to really associate myself with the comments that you've made about not knowing enough about what's being offered in another country, and that's a reality that we need to truly work on, know enough as entrepreneurs, as young people, about our countries. Clemence, can you hear me?
Yes, I do hear you, Franklin.
Let me allow you to take over now in terms of giving us a brief on what's happening tomorrow in terms of registrations, what we need to do, and how the African Youth Charter Hustlers also participating in augmenting the messaging and the mobilization for tomorrow. Over to you, and then we could wind up after that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you for everyone who's been following us. So tomorrow we are having an AfCFTA fireside chat with the UNDP, and as most of you have now been informed, the AU Youth Hustlers, AU Charter, right? I'm still trying to get the right way to communicate that. They have been working with us to mobilize people across the continent. We are having a lot of, we're having interesting conversations tomorrow. This is an opportunity you don't want to miss. We're having amazing speakers from from different platforms. I encourage you all to check out all social media pages, Facebook, Twitter. We have been sharing links on how you can register to be part of our fireside conversation tomorrow. It will be happening at 14 hours EDT, I believe, which would be 4 p.m. EAT. So please be on the lookout on our social media platforms that we have been sharing links, and we will be doing so throughout the day. Register to be part of our conversations, and we are excited to have you all with us tomorrow. You can also, while registering, you can also leave in your questions that you would like our speakers and panelists to address tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that as well.
I see some wonderful comments by Joel on the chat. Probably you could share with us.
Let me pull it up. My chat box. Yes. Oh, this is back on e-commerce. Joel has reached out and said, alternative is to deal with trust. To deal with trust is to adopt the model that Jumia uses in order to promote the use of African commerce products. Jumia allows payments on as a payment option as opposed to payment before delivery made. Our mentality is you cannot pay for what you have not seen. Well, there's some truth to it in the way the African culture, generally the way we like to do things is I want to see something and then I'll pay for it after I've examined it. And one of the other alternatives I think we can go with is quality check. So just like Bernard has shared, of course, or Hamond, if I'm not wrong, we have vendors and then we have the platform where they're vending from. So one of the reasons why people are more comfortable buying off Amazon or eBay or Etsy is because these companies do quality check from their vendors. They will not allow stuff to be sold on their platforms if they're not the quality they claim to be. to avoid returns that are, like problematic and complaints. So one of the, for a community that likes to pay for things they have seen, quality check would be important to build the trust. If they do quality check, then it will not be the blame to the vendor or to the company. It would be nice to have quality check. I know for a fact that myself, one of the reasons why I have issues buying online is the quality, to be honest. And also the shipping. I probably have mentioned it before, but I don't think this is a problem that companies can solve on their own. It would take a lot of partnerships of, transport companies, because it's hard to ship things across the continent and in the desired time frame. So there's that as well. So yes, thank you. It's boarding time for Sebastian. Thank you, Sebastian, for joining us this morning. We wish you a safe journey to Dar es Salaam. We'll catch up with you once you are there. Over back to Franklin.
Thank you. I just wanted to appreciate how everyone was tuned in. Probably, Joel, you could give us the last word for this morning as we sign off. You've brought out very wonderful points. So probably if you just want to emphasize that, and then we could call it a morning.
Am I being heard, or am I?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, sorry I joined in late, had connection issues, but I've been following in from the discussion here. I also tried to follow on Twitter at some point, and it's an interesting discussion. I made some reading last night on the treaty, and I noticed very few African countries have ratified it. So we might also need to promote the numbers that ratify the treaty. I think there are 27 out of the whole 54 that have signed. Ratification is a very important step in enforcing the treaty. It's one important stage you need to follow up with. Then, a comment I made in the chat. I also have a bias. People in Uganda complain about products they receive from Jumia. You order for a leather product, you get whatever product you never expected for. Like there's a way the system tends to convert a product to something different. So, like she said, we can do the quality checks before we receive the product, or we can insist on delivery, payment on delivery, as I suggested. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joel. Well, we are glad that we got the time to catch up, have an African Youth Pulse check-in with colleagues from across Africa and the diaspora. And so as we start the day, as we look forward to tomorrow, we are just going to emphasize to you who's tuning in, to all our constituents, let us register for tomorrow's fireside chat on the AFCFTA. We're going to have a wonderful discussion, a wonderful panel. So kindly follow the link. The link is available on all our social media pages, from the African Youth Charter Hustlers to ULEAD Africa, to all the partners working together to deliver this wonderful initiative on the African Continental Free Trade Area. So from us here in studio and all across the continent, we wish you a wonderful morning and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Have a pleasant day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.